Hello, I'm Lucas, and I have been watching a lot of Friday reads lately. And given that it is Friday, I thought I would talk about my Friday reads. Uh, I don't know if there's some codified set of rules. It seems some people talk about kind of what they've been reading coming into Friday, and some people talk about more of their weekend reads. As for me, there's just one book to talk about because I've been kind of slow. But maybe there will be more. I don't know. As for now, the book I have been reading, and that I will read into the weekend and I will finish, is Spillover by David Quammen, who is the author of The Song of the Dodo. Oh, Spillover, Animal Infections and the Next Human Pandemic, which I got because, as some of you might remember, or recall, or have heard me say before, I currently live in Shanghai, in China, where the coronavirus is running wild. I'm far away from Wuhan, but not that far. And as you might have seen in some of my videos, everything is pretty quiet for a city with 24 million people in it. Mostly because people have not gone back to work, except for people, hospital workers and people in the metro, because the metro is still running, and places where you can buy food, not restaurants. Maybe there's some still open, but I haven't seen them. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. Everything's, everyone's checking your temperature, whether you go in a supermarket or into your own apartment complex. And that's why I thought I would pick this up to try to better understand how this could happen, how the virus could transfer from one animal to humans, obviously, through eating them, which that is the claim that I saw, that it came from a wet market where they sell wild, living or dead animals for consumption. And, yeah. Seems pretty obvious, but I figured there had to be a little bit more to it, and there is. Apparently there are these things, there's the, in nature, there's the virus itself, and there are these reservoir animals where the virus can multiply and spread, but it won't cause serious harm necessarily. But then the infection goes from the reservoir animal to either humans and then causes a terrifying viral infection or a pandemic, or it can go to an amplifier host from a reservoir host where it doesn't do any damage to an amplifier host where it kills that animal. And the first example in the first section, which is like 20 chapters long or something, it's about the Hemdra virus, which was killing a lot of horses and racehorses in Australia. And the virus came from bats, where it was a reservoir host. And somehow, some way, maybe through bat urine or guano, it spread to horses, and they were dropping, just poop, 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 dying. And then the disease infected some of the caretakers and veterinarians, and it was a big dilemma. And we see these kind of things in Ebola and SARS and the coronavirus, or COVID-19 as it's called now. This book has been very critical in my understanding of viral infections. And I'm not quite done with it. I'm on page 234. But it's scary. It is horrifying. I learned that, actually I did kind of know this already, but I knew that in southern China, for example, that's not where the coronavirus, or COVID-19, came from. It came from sort of central China. Anyway, I know in southern China, they eat everything. Everything. Whether it's in the water, on land, or in the air, they will eat it, and they will eat every part of it. Anyway, a big reason for that, there's, they'll eat dog, they'll eat cat. Apparently they eat tiger penis, all kinds of things. I have heard of that. Probably rhino horn, I imagine, is another delicacy. And it has something to do with having face, or saving face, which is very big in Chinese culture. That is a topic for another time, but basically, from my understanding, it doesn't exactly explain the face value aspect of Chinese culture, but by being able to afford to eat these wild animals, it shows that you have money. And if you have money, then you're well off, and then you have face, you gain face, would be my guess. It doesn't exactly say that, but there are consequences to eating these wild animals, especially in the conditions. I mean, domestic animals, the conditions of domestic animals alone is horrifying. But these wild animals in these wet markets, don't ever go to a wet market here. I mean, if you eat meat, just don't go. It is horrifying. If you don't eat meat, definitely don't go. Anyway, that's a small rant. That will be my weekend read, my Friday read. That's what I've been reading since yesterday. I guess, I've been reading poems and short stories galore this week. Too many to really mention, but I did, for Poetry Thursday, do Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. I will leave a link to that. And I finished the Decameron. I forgot if that was this week or last week. I don't know, but I've been reading a lot of short stories. I think I've made videos for them. I will do this, and then, as I mentioned before, I will start doing the Book of Swords, Volume 1 and Volume 2 when I finish that. And, yeah, that has been my Friday reads. A little bit of horrifying knowledge. I keep bringing this up and putting it down, bringing it up and putting it down. Spillover, David Quammen. One thing I don't really like about it, it is great. I mean, it goes from the Hemdra virus to, that was an amazing section, to Ebola, to, there was this whole section about these quadratic calculus formulas and stuff, and how people sort of isolate where these diseases come from, or where they can try and figure out what animals, or, all these kinds of crazy things using math, and that is amazing. And then it goes on about SARS, and now I've been reading about stuff before globalization, and diseases that spread rapidly, like Spanish flu and some other ones, before the world was all totally interconnected. I do sort of wish it was, it is great. I do like that it bounces around to give a lot of examples to show how these things spread in terrifying ways. It is a very worrying book. It makes me very concerned, because it seems like humans are their own worst enemies. No, it's been talking about Lyme disease lately too. And it also made a definition between vector illnesses and these reservoir host illnesses, which has a name that I'm forgetting. I'll make a better video about this when I finish the book. Oh gosh, what is it called? Well, anyway, that's what the spillover is. Vector-related illnesses like malaria are when, like, a mosquito drinks some blood and then goes to another animal and drinks its blood, and the saliva goes in, you know. It's not affected at all by the virus. But anyway, it does kind of bounce around, and I wish it didn't, but it needs to, so I can't really complain. That's my Friday reads. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you, bye.